When we're given a confidence interval, in this case from 0.111 up to 0.999, so this is saying that the true probability, the true proportion, is going to be somewhere between 0.111 and 0.999. That's a pretty good sized interval, actually. Doesn't leave much out. Now your p-cap minus E is going to be the 0.111, and p-cap plus E is where they got the 0.999. But p-cap is going to be halfway between where this distance is E added to p-cap, and this distance is E subtracted. Here's your 0.111, your 0.999. So because p-cap is in the middle of these two, if we get the average of these two, we will have p-cap. If we just take our calculator, if we look at our calculator and we just add 0.111 and 0.999 and then divide by 2 to get the number halfway in between, that's 0.55. Well, that sounds right. p-cap, the proportion from the sample, is going to be the average of these two. Average as in the mean, add them together and divide by 2. So 0.111 plus 0.99 divided by 2 looks like 0.555. E is the distance from p-cap to either of the ends over here. So if I just choose one of them, 0.999 minus 0.555, I'm going to get 0.444. So p-cap plus or minus E is going to be the same thing as p-cap is 0.555 plus or minus E, which is 0.444. And you can see that that would give us the 0.999 if it were added, or 0.111 if it were subtracted. So you know this is right. Let's see what else we've got. Let's take a look at this problem. Use the sample data and confidence level given below to complete parts A through D. In a study of cell phone use and brain hemispheric dominance, an internet survey was emailed to 22,556 subjects. In a study of cell phone use and brain hemispheric dominance, are you left-brained or right-brained? An internet survey was emailed to 2,556 subjects, randomly selected from an online group involved with ears. 1,047 surveys were returned. Construct a 99% confidence interval for the proportion of returned surveys. Okay, the proportion of returned surveys, that means that our p-value for this particular sample is going to be 1047 over 2556. 1047 divided by 2556. So our proportion for the sample is 0.3 decimal places, 0.410, because the 909 is going to round up because of the 6 to a 10, 0.410. Good job. Now, to get the margin of error, we do want to go ahead and go to StatCrunch. It actually is not going to give us the margin of error directly. Go into Stat, Proportion Stats, one sample. You'll find out later what we mean by 2 samples. This is with summary because this is not raw data. This is not a page full of hash marks. This tells us how many were in the survey, how many surveys were returned. So with summary, now the successes, that's the number that we returned. So 1047. The number of observations is the number turned that were sent out, 2556. Want to change this to a confidence interval, 99%. Confident is what we're looking for. So notice that the sample proportion is exactly what we got on the calculator. It's just the count divided by the total. The standard error is not the margin of error. We cannot use that. However, this calculator gives us the lower limit and the upper limit. And we know, right, that the upper limit minus P cap is going to give us our margin of error. Here's P cap. If you go out the margin of error, that gives us the upper. And if you go down the margin of error, that's our lower limit. So if you get the upper and lower limits by adding and subtracting E, you can get E by getting the difference between P cap and the upper limit or P cap and the lower limit. So all we need to do is just go ahead and get our calculator. We can do the upper limit, 0.4346. I like to go extra, minus P, which, if we get it exactly, was 0.40962. Always run your numbers farther than you need and then round it off last. So 0.025 would be 3 decimal places. Very good. The confidence interval is actually given to us here. So the lower limit is 0.385 rounded off. Upper limit is going to be 0.435 rounded off. Check answer. And then this, you have to be really, really careful on. This is going to come up constantly. The correct interpretation of the confidence interval, have to word it just exactly right. We have a 99% confidence that the interval between the lower bound and the upper bound, or that the given confidence interval actually does contain the true value of the population proportion.